Okay, let's dive right in. We've got this stack of your sources here.
Yep.
And our mission, really, is to pull out the most important knowledge, the key insights, just for you.
Think of us as, I guess, your guides, helping you sift through it all to see what really matters.
And today we're tackling, well, a really fascinating topic. It gets right to the heart of understanding desire and pleasure, too, through what the sources are calling sexual breaks and sexual accelerators.
And we're drawing heavily from one source in particular today, an article from the Quarter Life Center, Quick Tips to Transform Your Sex Life.
Right. And that one references Emily Nagoski's book, Come As You Are.
Yeah.
Big influence there.
Definitely.
So our goal here is to unpack these ideas from the source material so you can maybe gain some valuable understanding about your own sexual dynamics, your experiences.
And hopefully find ways to enhance them. It's a powerful framework, really.
It really seems to be. So the core idea, the fundamental concept in this material, it's that navigating sexual intimacy isn't just about being on or off.
No, it's much more nuanced. It's about understanding this interplay, this kind of dynamic between sexual breaks and sexual accelerators.
Exactly. And the article really leans on Emily Nagoski's dual control model. That's the key framework here.
Right. It basically says we have two distinct systems working, sort of simultaneously.
Okay, so first you've got the sexual accelerator, like a gas pedal, right? The source explains the system kicks in response to anything relevant in your environment or even your imagination.
Yeah, things you see, hear, touch, smell, taste, or just think about.
If your brain codes it as sexually relevant, it sends that turn-on signal.
But then at the same time, you have the sexual break.
The break.
And this system is like constantly scanning, looking for potential threats or, well, reasons not to get aroused.
So that picks up on things through senses or thoughts that signal danger, maybe discomfort, stress.
Anything like that. And it sends a turn-off signal or maybe just, dampens things down.
And here's where it gets really interesting, I think. The material really argues that creating the right context is just absolutely key.
Totally. It suggests that often when people feel like they have a lack of desire, it might not actually be about desire itself.
So what is it then?
Well, the powerful idea here is that it's frequently the brakes that are the main issue. There's just an abundance of things hitting the brakes.
Oh, okay. Like stress or negative self-talk or just distractions in the environment.
Exactly. All those things. So the drive, the potential for acceleration might be there, but the context is just putting the brakes on hard.
Okay, so the central thesis, really, drawing from this source, it seems pretty clear. To improve your sexual experience, you need to focus on two things.
Turning on the accelerators.
And effectively managing or turning off the brakes.
And crucially, the article stresses how vital it is to understand your specific accelerators and your specific brakes.
Right, and your partners, too, if you have one or more partners.
Absolutely. It's deeply, deeply individual. What works for one person won't necessarily work for another.
Okay, that makes sense. So let's dig into those breaks a bit more first. When the source talks about sexual breaks, what kinds of things are we talking about specifically?
Well, according to this material, sexual breaks are essentially those factors, psychological, emotional, even environmental, that actively inhibit arousal or slow it right down.
So the turnoffs.
Pretty much. The things that hit that switch or maybe just act like a dimmer.
And the source is very clear. These vary hugely from person to person. What's a break for me might be neutral or even an accelerator for you.
Exactly. But they do list some common examples, things that pop up frequently.
Like what?
Things like stress, anxiety,
Yeah.
Body image issues are a big one mentioned, past traumas as well.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? If your brain's busy worrying or feeling unsafe or stressed about work, that threat detection system, the brake, is naturally going to be active. Makes it hard for the turn-on signals to get through, I imagine.
Precisely. And the article actually offers some, practical advice for managing some of these common breaks. For stress and anxiety, it highlights their direct negative impact on arousal. No surprise there.
Right.
So the recommendation is pretty straightforward. Prioritize self-care, stress management, think mindfulness, exercise, maybe professional support if needed.
So by dealing with those underlying issues, you create a better foundation, a better internal environment for sex.
That's the idea, a better environment for exploration and enjoyment, as the source puts it.
They also really zoom in on body image. That seems to be a significant break for many people.
Oh, definitely. Struggling with how you feel about your body can be a major inhibitor. So the material suggests embracing body positivity, self-acceptance. It's vital for a healthy sexual mindset.
So shifting the focus, maybe, from being critical of appearance
to appreciating your body for what it does, what it can feel, the pleasure it's capable of experiencing.
Right. That fosters a more positive internal space for intimacy. So a really key takeaway about breaks, then, is first identifying what yours actually are.
Self-awareness is step one.
And then the source really emphasizes this, feeling empowered to communicate those breaks, talking about them with your partner or partners.
Yeah, that's crucial for making sure experiences are consensual and satisfying for everyone involved. You can't navigate around breaks if you don't know what they are.
Which naturally leads us to the other side of the equation.
If breaks slow things down.
What speeds things up? What hits the gas?
The accelerators.
Right. So the source defines sexual accelerators as, well, the factors that heighten arousal and desire.
The things that initiate or amplify that turn-on signal.
And again, the material is clear. These are just as individual as the breaks. Highly personal.
Yep. The article gives examples like physical touch, maybe positive emotions, feeling connected, or even just the anticipation of novelty.
Novelty. The source talks about that. And about experimentation, too. It says they can be powerful accelerators for a lot of people.
Yeah, and it clarifies this doesn't have to mean, wild or extreme activities, unless that's your thing, of course.
Right. It can just be about introducing variety, some creativity into the relationship.
Trying new things together, even small stuff. It can foster excitement, deepen intimacy, keep things fresh.
The material also mentions emotional connection as a potential accelerator.
For sure. If feeling close and secure with a partner is something that turns you on, then actively strengthening that bond is key. Well, things like deep conversations, shared experiences, quality time. Activities that build that connection can directly boost desire for some people.
So just like with the breaks, the advice here is figure out what your specific accelerators are.
Know what gets your engine going.
And then make a conscious effort to incorporate those things into your relationships, to enhance those positive experiences.
Absolutely.
Which really brings us to something this material hammers home again and again.
Communication.
Communication. None of this works without open communication, does it?
Not effectively, no. The source basically positions open communication as the absolute cornerstone, the foundation of a healthy sexual relationship.
And what does that actually look like, according to the source?
It means feeling empowered, feeling safe enough to discuss your desires, your preferences.
And importantly, your boundaries. All of it, with your partner or partners.
Right. It's about creating that non-judgmental space where you can both or all really understand each other's accelerators and brakes.
Get on the same page.
Exactly. And the outcome the source points to is fundamental. It promotes mutual respect and consent.
Understanding and respecting each other's boundaries isn't just like a nice to have.
No, the source frames it as essential. Absolutely fundamental for creating positive, enjoyable experiences for everyone.
Okay, so if we were to try and boil this all down, what's the main takeaway from this source material?
I think the core message is that actively navigating your sexual breaks and accelerators, paying attention to them, understanding them, both for yourself and with a partner, is a really crucial part of building a fulfilling sexual connection.
It's not passive, it's an active process.
Right. And the source suggests that by fostering that open communication, by working to address your individual breaks, whatever they may be,
and by intentionally bringing in more of your accelerator,
you can create more positive, more enjoyable sexual experiences, and they explicitly connect that to your overall well-being.
Interesting. So it's not just about sex, it's about quality of life. In a way.
That's the implication, that gaining this understanding and finding ways to work with these internal systems can have a significant positive ripple effect.
Okay. So let's leave our listeners with something to think about then.
Okay.
A final thought. Drawing from this core idea presented in the material.
Sounds good.
If the source is right, and maybe desire itself isn't always the problem, maybe it is often about context, then the question for you, the listener, is, what specific contextual factors in your life right now might be hitting your brake?
And maybe, what's one small, manageable step you could potentially take, just one thing, to start shifting that context even